Welcome back, Streamer Nation. I'm your host, Michael Simeone, and you're listening to the SP Streamer Podcast, part of the Fantrax and FantraxHQ.com family. For this Starter Spotlight, we're going to talk about Aaron Ashby, but before we dive into it, I have a special guest for this one, and that is my co-host, Lauren Auerbach. What's happening, Lauren?
What's going on, Michael? I'm happy to see you again. It's been a while, and I have to say, when I saw you last, we're going into the postseason. We are now out of the postseason, and I'm very happy. My Braves won the World Series, so I am flying high. I am good. I am well. How are you?
Good. I do have to ask you a question. Oh, well, first of all, someone did ask me, I think, on Twitter if I cared about the Braves winning because obviously I'm a Mets fan. And I was kind of on the fence about it because they were a likable team. It was hard not to like them. And actually, some other Mets fans chimed in, and they actually said that they wanted the Braves to win just because the Astros are, the cheaters and blah, blah, blah. So that was a little bit interesting. But I do want to get your thoughts on, you had to have seen the videos. What is the deal with the parade bus just going like 50 miles an hour through the streets? Not letting anyone celebrate.
It was crazy, right? It was like, I think they were going over like 30 miles an hour, and they were just like blowing through, and it just was like, boop, done.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just inexperience. I don't know.
I don't know what happened there.
It was, yeah. I think
I tell you, if I was on the street and that happened, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, I didn't even see them. They just fucking zoomed by.
I know. And it's actually because I live in DC, and so with the Nats winning a couple of seasons ago, we went down there, and they did it right. It was like a whole day thing. Everyone was out celebrating, and they just slowly rolled through. But no, not the Braves.
And then did you see the cops try to take away Matzik or whatever?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it was crazy. Too. Yeah, I know.
Very, very interesting parade. I'll put it at that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's move on to our Star Spotlight. Lauren's going to help us break down Aaron Ashby real quick. We're just going to talk about what he did in season, what we think of him, and what we think will happen with him next season. So to start off, Aaron Ashby started the season in AAA ball at the Milwaukee Brewers. In AAA, he pitched a total of 63.1 innings with a 4.41 ERA. But the 4.41 ERA did come with a 14.21 K per nine, which was enough for the Brewers to think, let me promote this guy. In an article from The Athletic written by Will, I don't know how to say this properly, but Will Salmon, I want to say, he discusses how the Brewers are known for bringing up pitchers, grooming them in the bullpen, and then letting them loose when the time is right. Aaron Ashby actually knew this when he got called up. He said there's a track record of a lot of success in this organization going that route with the pitchers. I was kind of prepped in spring training that if anything were to happen, I will probably be out of the bullpen this year. That happened in 2021. Aaron Ashby pitched a total of 31.2 innings in the majors, and it came to a 4.55 ERA. But the underlying metrics show he should have been better. It came with a 3.58 FIP, 3.03 xERA, 3.18 SIERA, and a 29.3 strikeout rate. Lauren, what are your thoughts on his underlying metrics for ERA?
Michael, I love me some Aaron Ashby. I do think what is important to kind of point out is, in which you have, is that 31.2 innings pitched. We're talking about a small sample here, but I think overall he is a very high upside arm. You referenced that with his AAA stats. He had and then in those 31.2 innings in the majors, he had a 29.3 K rate. But it's good to see that that's consistent with his numbers in the minors. And I think one of the things that he does have a little bit of issue with is control. With command. He had a 9% walk rate, but again, going back to kind of that high upside arm, with strikeouts, he had a 33.5 CSW rate and a 13.3 swinging strike rate. So basically what that means is that he's getting called strikes, he's getting batters to chase, he's getting batters to swing and miss. And so I think that is one of the biggest kind of takeaways with him moving forward and what you should think about when you think of Aaron Ashby in 2022.
Yeah, everything under the hood, on the surface level looks good. And it's a little So it's typically hard to really tell, especially when pitchers are mainly pitching out of the pen because they could throw harder. They don't really have to care about lasting
Hmm.
throughout the entire game. But like you mentioned, Lauren, it matches what he did in AAA, where he did get some starts as well. So I feel like it should all translate. But also, as you said, it is a super small sample of 31.2 innings. So typically, when that happens, what I like to do and others like to do is you kind of have to look at the pitches. Aaron Ashby mainly throws a slider, sinker, and changeup. So, what do you think about the individual pitches that he has, Lauren?
So right, so those three pitches kind of combine in his arsenal they make up about 95% of his pitches. His money pitch, his bread and butter pitch is his slider. He throws that 38.5% of the time. It has a 42% whiff rate. Batters have had a hard time hitting it. Again, it's a small sample, but that pitch alone has a .077 batting average against it, as well as a .151 slug and a .148 WOBA.
Mm.
And all of that is kind of in line with his X stats as well. So, that's his, like I said, it's his money pitch. And the thing about the slider is that not only can batters, hit it, is that it has this, above average horizontal and vertical movement on it. So this is what he's kind of been rolling with, and it'll be interesting to see if he can continue to kind of keep those numbers up. Once hitters see a little bit more of that, I think in 2022. But he also throws a sinker, and he throws a sinker about 34% of the time. It's not as effective as his slider. In fact, it gets hit a fair amount. It has a
Mhm.
333 batting average against it, and a 451 slug, and a 375 WOBA against it. And I think it is interesting, I think, kind of looking at him in 2022, if he'll kind of continue to utilize that pitch to the extent that he has. Because again, he's throwing it 34% of the time, but it was getting hit. And then I think to keep kind of batters off, on their toes, he mixes in a changeup, and he throws the changeup 21.4% of the time, and that's not too shabby. That actually gets a 34.6% whiff rate, and also a lot of his the batting average against it is also low. It's a 167, and to go along with a 250 slug and a 216 WOBA. And not to throw too many numbers at you, but I think overall the takeaway is I think that he has three solid pitches, and which is good to see. And he's getting high whiff rates on them. But it's that sinker that is kind of interesting. Looking forward, looking kind of towards 2022. If he's going to kind of reduce that since it does get hit a little bit or not, I don't know. But he's got a solid arsenal, and yeah, it's
I
good.
think I think the sinker comes back to what you said earlier with the command. So the sinker was his main issue when it came to command, but he does throw it 96.5 miles per hour, so it's a power
Yeah.
sinker. It's you got to think almost Sandy Alcantara right there.
Hmm.
So if he can fix that command, then it could do a lot of good things. And yeah, it did get hit kind of hard, but also had a ground ball rate of roughly 70%, which is really good for a slider. So, I mean, for a sinker, but if you pair that sinker with the slider, as you mentioned, the slider is insanely good no matter
Mm-hmm.
what numbers you're looking at. And then the changeup, he does have three solid pitches. And again, the changeup, like you mentioned, a lot of weak contact there. And then the slider really is what induces the whiff. So we're looking at three pitches that can complete, paint a complete picture of a complete pitcher.
Uh-huh.
um, and I think there's a ton of potential there. Exactly.
I agree. Yeah.
Um, to boot, all three of his main pitches had well above average horizontal movement, some above average vertical movement. So again, there's just a lot there. So this all begs the question, Lauren, how do we value him for next season?
I like him. I've been participating in, a handful of kind of early, kind of mock drafts. And he's a pitcher that I've been targeting late in rounds. I think what it comes down to really is will he crack that starting rotation? And I
Mhm.
think that if he does, I think that he's easily, you can think of him as, SB5, but I think more SP4 range, I think. Um, and I don't know. Right now, projections have him projected as a reliever. Steamer
Yes.
has him
So,
as
yeah.
like 90 innings pitched, but it's very early in the
Mhm.
season, and projections tend to be conservative in general. I think, um, he's worth taking a flyer on. He's absolutely worth targeting. I think that the stuff that he brings to the table is good. And that combined with the fact that he's pitching with the Brewers, which is a good organization that has shown that they can develop pitchers well, I think that this just bodes well for him, regardless of whether he cracks that rotation or not. If I was betting, I don't know that I would bet that he cracks it on opening day, but I certainly think that he will see, starts, and I certainly would, I certainly think that he will make that rotation at some point in 2022.
Yeah, I hope he makes the rotation. Like you said, Steamer right now only has him for 90 innings pitch. I
Hmm.
think they have him for only starting 6 games.
Yeah.
Basically, that puts him at Kopech territory. So that's what Kopech did in 2021 was basically in the bullpen the entire season,
Hmm.
some long relief, but he also did get some starts as well. And, unfortunately, we could see that with Aaron Ashby. I hope not. Even if he is put in that role, though, he is definitely still a really good option for those deeper leagues or
Hmm.
NFBC DCs. But if he does start, and if he starts the year in the rotation, which I don't know, we'll see, but his value definitely goes up there because he has the makings to be a really good pitcher and
Hmm.
he's in the right organization to do it. So,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we agree about him.
It's arrows up for Aaron Ashby.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, that does it for this version of Starter Spotlight. Thanks for joining me, Lauren. I appreciate it, and continue celebrating as much as you
Oh, I
can.
will. Next time you see me, I'll be wearing pearls.
Smart. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. You can check us out on Twitter at SPStreamer. Check out our website, spstreamer.com. We do have the pre-order of our draft kit coming out Black Friday, and that will be out.
Merch.
I'll release it on Twitter, and as Lauren points to her SP Streamer
There's
mug that you can
merch.
get in our shop as well. But yeah, so check us out everywhere you can. Thanks for listening. Please rate and review us as well if possible, and we will talk to you guys next week.